Hello everyone, I'm Gabriele Chiapparini, welcome to Small Photobook Cult. Before we get into this episode, I want to remind you why this podcast exists. We always try to bring you specific quality content, trying to go deep with conversation in the company of photographers about the most interesting books out there. If you appreciate what we do and how we do it, if you have not already done, we ask you to subscribe to the channel. It is also very important for us to starting a dialogue with you. The likes and the comments under the videos help us to understand what you think and what you would like to see on this channel and help YouTube to give more visibility to our contents. In this episode, we will take a look at Between the Mountain and the River. This book explores grief, memory, and healing through the lens of the alpine landscape. After his mother's passing, the photographer returned to the mountain of his childhood, a place deeply connected to her. Through this journey, the mountains and the river become metaphor for remembering, processing loss, and finding solace. Welcome to the episode 21 of Small Photobook Cult. We are here with Rick for der Klooster. Hello Rick, I'm glad to speak with you today.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on this godly hour.
Nice. Do you want to start to introduce the work, the book?
Yeah, of course. So my name is Rick van der Klooster, and I made a project called Between the Mountain and the River. And it's a long-term project that started in 2018 when I went to the mountains that I always visited with my mother. We just published the book together with Hans Gremme and Petra Stavas from FW Books. And it's a photo project about grief, loss, memory, and nature.
And what about the title?
Yeah, Between the Mountain and the River. At first, it was called You Left Me With This Photo, but kept the negative when I started it in 2018. And it had a little bit to do with the theme of the project that's about grief. And it was because my mother always took me there in all our short holidays. And her whole master plan was to start a guest house or a bed and breakfast there when I was 25 years old. And then just before she started to realize the plan, she got sick and died within a year. And then I thought, if I don't go back to a certain place, then she can live on there forever. And that really worked in my still childish mind. So this first title, You Left Me With This Photograph but Kept the Negative, was about having a kind of copy there. And then over the years, working there, I think the second year I came back to work on the project, I felt that I was kind of in between something there. And then I started to really look at the landscape in a philosophical way. And for me, the mountain and the river represented both something that has to do with grief, one that has to do with holding on and standing still, and one with just letting go and rushing and destroying everything in its path. So then a conversation between the mountain and the river came up, and it worked for a couple of years. And when I went to Arles back in 2023 with a Dutch photo organization called Fotodoc, I was sitting on this at this little restaurant having a coffee and a cigarette, and then I met a fellow photographer called Peter Pfluger, who you had in the podcast as well.
Hello, Peter.
And he was looking at the title, and he was like, man, that's a shitty title. You should do something with it. And I pitched that to everyone I met in Arles. And after, I think, 6 or 7 months of iterations, I removed a conversation. So it would just be between the mountain and the river. And then you could think and see for yourself if it's a conversation or a dialogue or a fight or whatever.
Well, it's very interesting for two reasons. The first one is that almost all the photographers that were here in the podcast spoke about the problem to choose the right titles, like it's a topic completely. And the second one is that one of my questions was about the title, that it's a really intimate title, but also it made me think about a kind of dialogue between the mountains and the river, and the fact that I had this suggestion without you need to write that it's a dialogue. I think it's really interesting, and it's also mean that it's working.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, seeing as they shape each other as well, and also with the fact that I find it really hard to combine text and photographs in a book. The title should say a lot, so you can have your own intelligence and experience on a certain theme or topic to fill in the blanks yourself and make the work your own as well.
How much time did you need to come back to that mountains?
Wow, it took a while. My mother died in the beginning of 2014. So the last time I was there was in the summer of 2013 together with my mom. And then it took 5 years, and I only went back because I was making makeshift mountains at home with my best friend. And then after 6 months of making these fake mountains, he just randomly mentions like, "Hey, I've never really been into a mountain, and this guy makes really nice fake mountains." So then I thought, maybe I should go back. And that was in, I think it was August 2018. So yeah, a full 5 years before I went back.
Quite a lot. We can start flipping through the book if you want.
Yeah, sure.
How the idea of transforming memories into photos came about?
Good question. I think it had to do with a book I was just reading then. It's called A Philosophical Inquiry into the Sublime and Beautiful by Edmund Burke. And there was a sentence in there that I'm going to paraphrase it quite badly, but it was something like that you can only present grief in its most beautiful way. And that gave me the freedom to take photographs that I actually liked physically or visually, and also like paying homage to my mother and the landscape she gave to me in a way. And then when I came back, I didn't immediately check all the photographs, and when I saw them, I realized that a lot of the time I don't know why I take a photograph of something. And maybe that's the beauty of photography, that later on you can reflect on what you've seen and what you felt. And then in the meantime, you talked and read about stuff related to it. And then I figured out that a lot of these photographs represent something that I've lost or forgot, like lessons from my mother or experience we had there together. And so it became like these kind of memories told through the natural landscape.
Do you want to speak about some specific pictures? Because I think we can find a lot of metaphors or symbolism in your work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to.
This one.
Which one?
I like this one. Yeah, I like this one. Yeah.
Perfect.
This photograph is called Trauma. And it's this tree was struck by lightning, I think the year before I took the picture. And we were walking there, and I saw this lone tree standing on the edge of the slope. And it's like all black and charred inside. And I'm using a lot of artificial light in my photographs. And it sounds a little bit sadistic, but I thought it was a good idea to have the tree relive its trauma. So I placed the flesh into the hollow tree and took the picture. And yeah, for me, in a way, this tree, the photograph in this tree as it is with the flesh, represented some thoughts and feelings I was having while I was working on this project.
In what way, if you want to speak about?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in the way that, yeah, everybody grieves differently, of course. But for me, I didn't really grieve well while I was still in the Netherlands. And I moved out of my family home quite short after my mom died, to a total different city and a different province with different kind of people. Um, so for a while, I think I put it away, the whole grief period. And then when I went back to the mountains, man, I think that was one of the first times that I really cried again and thought about what I've lost. And yeah, so for me, the photograph of this tree, reliving its most traumatic experience again, yeah, really made sense for me to do that to the tree as well, and then use the photograph, yeah, to tell something or show something about it.
Yeah, so again, a bit like the project of Sabine S. There are trees also in Sabine S. project, and yeah, really similar thought. Like it seems a bit like a self-portrait.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think most of the pictures in this book are kind of self-portraits of different versions of who I was or who am to become.
Yeah, that two projects are like it's interesting right now because there are a lot of projects about grief in this podcast. I don't know why. Probably it's my peak.
You have a good taste. Yeah.
I'm starting to be a bit scared about it. And it's also fascinating because in this one you speak about grief, but also your childhood in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems a really good connection between the episode of Sabines and the one of Henry O'Head, like childhood and grief, and you put it together.
Yeah.
And you said that you use a lot artificial light in your pictures, but for example, in this one, how did you work?
Yeah, with this one, I don't think I used a flash because this one was a little bit later on the day and the light was already a bit harsh. And this image is in the dialect it's called a gipsleuwe. I hope I pronounce it right. And it's where the chalk kind of drains away during the rains.
Mm-hmm.
And it leaves these massive black holes in the landscape that, as you can see, can suck up a tree. And then, because it's working, the whole project is in black and white, obviously, there's a lot of room to play with just the tones. And this image in the book also starts a new chapter where you go in this kind of in between dream and waking up kind of reality where it is neither day or night. And then again, the flash becomes really important in I think it's the next image as well, where the flash really makes the. Oh no, not I. I thought it was a different picture. Yeah, this one. Yeah, and this is where the flash really plays an important part in creating this kind of visual language where you're not sure if it's day or night, whether you're awake or dreaming.
So you divided the book in chapters, right?
Yeah, kind of.
How it's work?
Well, there are more multiple narratives in the book. So depending on what your experiences are within this team, there are different ways to look at it. But for me, the chapters really work in this kind of way where you enter a different emotion in a sense. And this one, for example, this image, it's the one where grief is maybe at its darkest. So after the light period of feeling maybe relieved, that the real it really hits. And especially this image is like this kind of cancerous monster that just infects the mountain and tries to crawl to you. So then that's this chapter, and then through the book as we will see, you get a different kind of emotion or atmosphere, and I think that really helps with creating this whole new visual world in a sense.
They seem some eyes and an animal shape.
Yeah, especially this one. I took it over the over the course of all the years, and it's really high up on a mountain ridge on top to the summit, and it was really hard to photograph. And from a certain angle, it looks like this gigantic tarantula consuming a deer, and that's also the title of the photograph, "The Consuming of a Deer." And then from this one, because the sun was already setting, it looked totally different, and I've never seen it in the evening. So I also really like that about photography, that you can take multiple pictures of the same exact subject, and then it just changes depending on the light and also depending on the emotional state I was in. And yeah, this one, I don't know, it has a lot of people. When it was on show at the Art Rotterdam show in Ahoy last March or April, I forgot. A lot of people thought it was there were bodies that were heavily edited.
And why you decide to use the black and white for all the project?
Well, first of all, I just really like the aesthetic of a black and white picture. I think that with color photography, it's really easy to get lost in the sauce and just think in a really binary way of seeing something as beautiful or not, or as something that you recognize from reality or not. And then in black and white, I saw that a lot of people really dive into what the picture could be about, instead of seeing it as a frame to a different world or a reality. They see it as something reflective, as like a mirror. It's also something that Nietzsche said about that you need friends to stay afloat, but sometimes you need like this kind of silence and this sense of being alone to dive deeper. And I think that's exactly what can happen within black and white photography by getting rid of your color friends and dive deep.
So is it more abstract in some way? You can feel the images with yourself a bit more, maybe.
Yeah, I think you said it pretty well. Yeah. I think that's you put it perfectly.
And so, because this is a very personal project, what was the biggest challenge in like translating such an intimate memory into something, let's say, accessible to others?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, that's the question that kept me awake.
But we also spoke a lot about this topic with Peter Flugler in the end of his episode.
Yeah, and I see why.
So now it's your turn.
Thanks. Well, for me, it was really important that the project was not about me or about my mother. My mother would hate that, so that was also a criterion. The real challenge was to make this personal story accessible to everyone that experienced grief, and obviously everybody experienced grief. So for me, it was really important to see how I could make these kind of photographs and edit it in and put them in such a sequence that everybody could place themselves in these photographs. And then the solution to that is to just talk a lot about the photographs with people, show them edits, and in the beginning, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, I can really see your mother in these pictures, and I really feel her presence." And those were people that never knew my mother. So that was interesting in kind of way. But I also thought like, okay, this is too much about me and my mother, and it shouldn't be about that per se. And then I figured out that that certain pictures just work more broadly in a way that people can interpret them in their way. And in the end, it feels a little bit like like how cows are kept on the Alps with just a thin white line, and they can step out anytime they really want to. But then you're getting outside of the territory that you're supposed to be in, and I think that's the same happening in the book. That you can step out of it, of course, and put a totally different perspective and narrative on it. But then you're doing that, and otherwise, you're thinking within the theme of the book. So yeah, I hope that clarifies it a little bit.
Yes, and also speaking about like human portraits, there are few in the books, a bit hidden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's start from the first one that I saw. Maybe there are more. I'm not sure. That is maybe this one.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a mythical forest creature that I encountered on a rainy day at the river basin.
So it was a like random encounter.
It kind of was. Yeah, no, and at first there were a lot of pictures of people in there and more recognizable. But I got the feedback from a lot of people that I trust, and they told me those are two separate projects, and having like recognizable people in there just puts away of the whole mythical atmosphere that the project has. And that was the decision to only have people there as kind of an abstract figure. And sometimes it really blends in well. In the beginning of the book, there's an image of a lake where it looks like there's somebody in the water, and then later on in the book, it happens again. And sometimes people don't know anymore whether it's this one, whether it's somebody in the water or if it's just rocks or a reflection or whatever. And I really like the photographs capture in a more democratic way, so that there's no distinction between seeing a human or a rock or a tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like a presence in the place.
Yeah, and the fun thing is that within this picture, I didn't realize it until a good friend and really good photographer called Alps was looking through the edit, and he asked me like, "Is there somebody in the water there?" Or at least it looks like there's somebody in the water, and it really opened up a lot of new doors in the project.
I didn't see here, but I saw perfectly in this one. No, here it's not a rock, right?
Who knows?
Yeah, could be.
Could be.
It's okay. Let's stay this topic open. Like, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, me too.
And then I think, no, yeah, nothing else. So the only real one is the random. Oh no, this one.
Yeah, that's that one is. I took that one on the last trip I made for the book, and because of the picture in the beginning of the book where you are just now, the really bright picture of the mountain lake, where it resembles a human form. That happened to me quite a lot through the project. I took a lot of photographs of snow and reflections and rocks that looked like there was somebody curled up, and it felt only natural to recreate that picture with a real human being and have this kind of almost like fetus position
Hmm.
in the book, and it in this sequence, it felt also like a kind of rebirth. And then in the next one, they're getting out of the water in a way and resurfacing.
Yeah, I can see it now. And like about the metaphors, what kind of meaning do you hope readers will see?
Yeah, what I hope is that people look different at their natural surroundings, and see themselves in it as well. Because for me, the book is really about having a landscape that's giving me back what I've lost. But I really try to bring across this kind of thought that if we take good care of our natural surroundings and actually see our surroundings as a reflection of ourselves and of who we are and who the people we love are, that it just really helps with taking better care of ourselves. And with ourselves, I mean our planet as well. And I just also really hope that when people see a tree or see a rock or a bird or whatever, they don't look at it as if they're looking outside, but as if they're are together with them.
Speaking about metaphors, what about the one on the right?
Yeah, for me, I wasn't sure why I took that picture. It's a place where I spend quite a lot of time. It's a really nice place to just sit and think. And then all of a sudden, this letter was standing there.
It's just that, like there, alone.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, because it's about grief and and really Christian religious terms, with having a heaven, it just fits the project in a way, that there's something out of sight, something that we can't reach, that we don't know what's at the end of it.
I thought something a bit different, because this thing is in that specific place that is the places of this book. I thought it was a kind of portal or entrance. In this place, you have this ability to meet your mother again, in a different shape and way, and it's looked like to me that this was a kind of entrance, a kind of invitation to meet her again.
Yeah, well, that's beautiful. Yeah, no, I think it's really beautiful what you're saying, and that's also what I like about at least my photography. That's most of the times what people see in them is way more beautiful than what I've put in them.
Yeah, it happened all the time also with my and our project, the project that I done with Camilla, and it's I think one of the most beautiful things in photography is just walk around with your project and speak with people, and sometimes people really surprise you because you're working on your project for a lot of time, and if someone come from a completely different context and was not like inside the project for, I don't know, years, can see with fresh eyes your pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's. I also really think that's one of the most beautiful aspects of photography, that you capture this. The existing world in a language that's so different from how we talk, and then seeing people look at it or read it. Maybe I think reading a photograph is more appropriate. And then coming up with this whole personalized idea of what the photograph is about, and I think that's magical.
Yeah, it is. I think that the same. Why you decide to put pink pages in the start and in the end?
I didn't.
It's
That was
it's a good reply.
yeah. No, that was the idea of the designer Hans Glemme, and he's a really good designer. And I don't know which session it was. Maybe the third session we came together, or the second, and I gave him an edit. And in the edit, I had the underwater photographs put there with texts on them. And in the book, because in this PDF, the text is on separate pages, but in the book, it's like a fold in the page where you can only read the text in the position of the fold. And then you open up the PDF, and it was in pink. And the first thing I thought was that my mother really didn't like black and white pictures, and she absolutely hated the color pink. So I was like, should I do that? And I asked him like, okay, why are they pink? And he replied something in the way or in the sense of that the project is pretty heavy on its own, and also the pictures are pretty heavy and monumental, and that this kind of pink maybe lifts it a little bit up and makes it less dark and heavy. And I also really like that. I really like how when you open up this book, because the cover is all black and white, that it just smashes you with this vibrant color all of the sudden. And yeah, it just worked, and that's how it that's how it ended up in the book.
I was to coming back to this place after a while. Your feelings in general, and also, did you find that place really different?
Well, a bit, because when I came back, normally I would go there with my mom in the car, and this time we went with the train and the bus, and I had the legendary idea of climbing over the mountain from the bus station towards the place I always went, which was a horror show. We totally got off the trail. We lost the trail. We had to do some really dangerous stuff. And then when I entered this certain place that I knew from my childhood, only the entrance made it already really weird, because we almost fell to our death. And then we get to this camp place where I always went, and of course there were a lot of different people, but there were also a lot of the same people there. And the owner of the camping place remembered me, but also told me like, yeah, you can't stay here really, so I can offer you a tent spot next to the toilets, and then you have to find another place. And that already really changed the perception of the landscape, because normally it was just this safe place that my mother rearranged for us, and where we didn't have to think about where we could sleep or eat. And then it felt super wild. And then the next day we were looking for a place to camp, and wild camping there is incredibly hard because of the landscape. And if you put your tent somewhere where, for example, the forest rangers can see it, you risk up a fine up to 40,000 euros and a prison sentence of 3 weeks. So luckily we found a place higher up the mountain at a mountain farm. And the fun thing was that the people who lived there then were an Austrian guy who lived all his life in the village, and a Dutch woman who married him 30 years before. And she actually, when she asked for my name, she recognized it, and she told me like, a couple of years before a woman came through here with 2 dogs, and we talked a little bit about having the guest house here. And that totally changed the whole perception of this landscape. because people still remembered my mother, and which I found really beautiful. And yeah, then over the years, this perception stayed kind of the same, like this personal perception, but then the landscape changes like physically because of the climate breakdown. And that was also really hard and direct to see, because here in the Netherlands, you don't feel it that much. But there you actually see rivers drying up, and rivers that I know for almost since I was like 11 years old, and I see them like drying up. And yeah, that's a really weird emotion as well, because for me, this landscape holds the memory and the spirit of my mother, and seeing it like physically change. For example, on this photograph, just a bit to the right, a mountain summit collapsed in 2023 because the glacial waters that works like a kind of glue melted away, and the whole summit that has been there for since forever just dropped 200 meters to the ground. And I can only imagine what that means for people living there for generations, and having photographs and paintings of their family in front of that mountain, and all of a sudden that mountain is totally altered in its physical shape. So yeah, for me that also became a really important part of the project, that if we don't take care of our natural landscape, we can lose more than just trees and mountain summits. We can actually lose the memory of our loved ones.
Also, it's curious that photography uses so much the nature in the pictures, and I think probably if we start to watch back in some pictures made, I don't know, like 30, 40 years ago, maybe also in some colors pictures, we can start seeing the effects of this change in the color scenes, the shape, and it's so sad.
Yeah, it really is. I'm going back in a week, and I'm a bit afraid of what I will see there, because there was almost no snow there this year, at least not as much as it should be. And seeing yellow dried grass in the beginning of June would be kind of heartbreaking, because it's a scary foresight of what's coming this summer and in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I told you like off record that I used to go to, like, I was not professional, but I was doing a properly ski when I was young in the Apennini that are lower than Alps, and in the last 6-7 years it's impossible to go to ski there. You can go maybe for 1 month, like in January, February. And also a lot of family friends, like my teacher of ski, is not teaching anymore. Like it cannot be a job anymore to teach in ski there. So he's collecting mushroom. That is very nice, by the way, but yes. It's a big change.
It really is, and it's also interesting, to see it happen in in real time, of course. And for example, I found it interesting what you're saying about your friend or your teacher losing his job. A lot of the time that you read about climate change in Europe, it only comes to light when people are starting to lose money on it. I read a lot about like the winter sport villages, and they're talking about climate breakdown, but mostly about finding a new kind of economy for the villages to survive. And it's really interesting that this whole ideology of capitalism is destroying nature, and then the only thing that really puts a spotlight on the climate breakdown is when it's starting to cost money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. It's the only way to speak about, and it's more than sad.
Yeah, it is more than sad.
Do you suggest some music to watch in this book?
when I was making the project, I thought a lot about music that I've heard while playing World of Warcraft like 15 years ago. And there's this one soundtrack called Totems of the Grizzlemaw, and I edited a lot of the pictures and the sequences with that soundtrack in the background.
I'm gonna check for it.
I think it's by Russell Brower, accompanist.
What kind of music?
Yeah, it's really like a cinema kind of soundtrack. It's something that you would hear under a movie while watching pine trees high up in the mountains.
Nice, but it's like a video game music.
Yes, because it's in the video game, but it could also be something that you would just watch live playing by an orchestra.
Nice.
I think it is made by an orchestra as well.
Yeah, but I love video game music. There is this video game that I really like lately. It's Dome Keeper, I think, and the soundtrack is amazing. It's so good. It's a bit lo-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's really beautiful. If you never listen to it, check it out because it's really good.
Yeah, I will. I don't know. Video game music just really helps me to transport to a different world.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, especially if you are born like in the 80s, 90s. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then, did you learn something during doing this project that can help someone approaching photography right now to do a better job?
I think finding something that is really personal. That's what I learned from my internship at Jaap Scheren. He told me when you have a personal story as the drive of your project, that nobody can really comment on your personal story because it's your story. They can, of course, say, okay, your photographs don't really tell the story, or I don't perceive the story from your photographs, and then you can work on that. But if you have that personal story, I think that's a really steady backbone to have and something to fall back to. And then if that personal story can be told or shown in a way that it's applicable to multiple people from different backgrounds, that's already getting more relevant. And then if you know how to make it political in a way, because in my opinion, all art is political. And if you don't put a political stamp on it yourself, other people will do that. So I think those three things, like having a true or a true personal story that's really heartfelt, and then talk about it with other people and read a lot about your themes and your subjects, so you can make it more universal in a way, for lack of a better word, and then see how you can make it political in a way that you give something back. So for me personally, this project is a kind of way to talk about our bond with nature, and that we have to heal it in order to be human. So that's my political take on it. Then you have three really steady points to make a project on, and then the last thing is take time for it. I see so many people trying to rush their projects and bring it out as soon as possible, and then already having a new project ready, because that happens to me as well. When I finish the book, it's really curious that a curator or a gallerist comes to you and they're like, "Hey, nice book. What's the next project?" And I think that's just some neoliberal bullshit to always think about the next thing. I think you should just really take time for it and let it, just let it simmer for a bit, and don't rush it. Make sure that you just give it the time that your project and your story needs, because it is valuable if you really feel the need to tell something and be persistent in that. So yeah, don't rush it.
Yeah. Like this podcast was born also out of the necessity to try to speak about books in general, and it's more easy to speak about new books because there is a lot of people waiting for it, and also the photographers want to speak about it. But the real starting point was to speak about some books that I collected during the years, and some books are quite old, like project from 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I hope I can do it. Like there are so many old projects that are so good, and it can be really amazing to, to record some episode with that books. We will see.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because I don't know, stories and books change over time, and especially right now, where it seems there's a whole new world emerging every other 3 months.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting to look at photo books in retrospective.
Yeah, I want to do both. Of course, I'm super excited when a new beautiful books come out, but also the old one.
Yeah,
and
of course it.
Both
are important. Yeah.
So, Rick, the very last question: can you suggest us a book and a photographer to have here in the podcast in the future?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a book that has been published, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. It's called "We're Not For" by Michael Eshkin, also from FW Books. No, and I think it's a really interesting book because the cover is just text, and then the whole book is just black and white photographs on every page, with one sentence underneath it starting with "We're not for." And for me, that was the decision to really wanted to work with Hans from FW Books, because I don't really know a lot of photo books where I see text and images combined in such a way that they really magicize. I don't know if it's a proper term, but like make each other more magical. So yeah, that's a book that I would really like to see you ask Michael questions about it, because I'm really curious myself.
Yeah, let's try. I will contact the photographer and FW.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
And thanks so much, Rick. We finished.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed this time together.
Yeah, I really did. I really liked your questions, and thanks for inviting me and taking time with me to talk about the project.
It was really a pleasure, and hope to see you soon in, I don't know, somewhere, some festival.
That would be really nice. Maybe in Paris.
Yeah, probably in Paris. We are going to meet all together.
Nice. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks so much, and goodbye, everybody. And
goodbye,
Rick. Ciao.
Ciao.